be with you, and a warm welcome to you as always from all of us here at Parish Court with Kilbride. Well, we are very excited to announce that in a little over a week's time we are going to be commencing the build of our new worship hall, and this has been coming for the last 3 years as a result of really hard work and dedication from a specific group of people within our parish under the vestry's blessing, and some of them from our vestry who have just given of their time and have constantly believed in the vision of a worship hall that will stand just outside the doors of our own church. So over the next year, our time in the square might be infiltrated by some noise of tractors or builders, but we will do our very best to try and keep a peaceful little pocket of time for everybody here. This morning's service takes on a slightly different style, only in that I'm going to pause for prayer at the very end, because it might give us an opportunity to take what we might have learned from the scripture and turn it into a form of prayer for ourselves or for those we love. So first, this morning, let's hear the scripture itself. Now, a new king arose over Egypt who did not know Joseph. He said to his people, "Look, the Israelite people are more numerous and more powerful than we. Come, let us deal shrewdly with them, or they will increase, and in the event of war, join our enemies and fight against us and escape from the land." Therefore, they set taskmasters over them to oppress them with forced labour. They built supply cities, Pithom and Ramesses, for Pharaoh. But the more they were oppressed, the more they multiplied and spread, so that the Egyptians came to dread the Israelites. The Egyptians became ruthless in imposing tasks on the Israelites, and made their lives bitter with hard service in mortar and brick and every kind of field labour. They were ruthless in all the tasks that they imposed on them. The king of Egypt said to the Hebrew midwives, one of whom was named Shiphrah and the other Puah, "When you act as midwives to the Hebrew women and see them on the birth stool, if it is a boy, kill him. But if it is a girl, she shall live." But the midwives feared God. They did not do as the king of Egypt commanded them, but they let the boys live. So the king of Egypt summoned the midwives and said to them, "Why have you done this, and allowed the boys to live?" The midwives said to Pharaoh, "Because the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women, for they are vigorous to give birth, and give birth before the midwife comes to them." So God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and became very strong. And because the midwives feared God, he gave them families. Then Pharaoh commanded all his people, "Every boy that is born to the Hebrews you shall throw into the Nile, but you shall let every girl live." Now a man from the house of Levi went and married a Levite woman. The woman conceived and bore a son. And when she saw that he was a fine baby, she hid him for 3 months. When she could hide him no longer, she got a papyrus basket for him and plastered it with bitumen and pitch. She put the child in it and placed it among the reeds on the bank of the river. His sister stood at a distance to see what would happen to him. The daughter of the Pharaoh came down to bathe at the river, while her attendants walked beside the river. She saw the basket among the reeds, and said to her maid to bring it. When she opened it, she saw the child. He was crying, and she took pity on him. "This must be one of the Hebrews' children," she said. Then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and get you a nurse from the Hebrew women to nurse the child for you?" Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Yes." So the girl went and called the child's mother. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this child and nurse it for me, and I will give you your wages." So the woman took the child and nursed it. When the child grew up, she brought him to the Pharaoh's daughter, and she took him as her son, and named him Moses, because she said, "I drew him out of the water." Let me read a little piece to you this morning as a reflection on what we've just heard in this scripture, bearing in mind that the whole story of God through his people, one of the most significant people in that story, is the baby in the basket made of rushes this morning. And isn't that a very valuable indication as to how God works through the simplest of people with the cleverest of ideas for his kingdom to come on this earth, and the contrast between that kingdom and that of the might of the Pharaoh. Think about how this really speaks into our world today. I have company this morning. The shadows of the empire. We live our lives under the shadow of loud things. We live surrounded by empires, some carved into ancient stone, others digitized into the screens in our pockets, but all of them whispering, sometimes shouting about who they think we are, or worse again, who they think we should be. But the world has always been this way. Thousands of years ago, on the muddy banks of the Nile, a nameless pharaoh ascended a throne. He looked at the growing family of God and saw a threat. His response was the classic architecture of human tyranny. Walls of forced labour and whips of oppression. And finally, a lethal decree whispered to two midwives, Shipra and Puah, "Kill the boys, wash away their future in the river." You see, Pharaoh claimed the authority of life and death. He assumed his word was the final law of the cosmos. But God does not build his kingdom with the heavy, brutal stones of Pharaoh. God's architecture is altogether different. It is quieter, it is sweeter, and it is infinitely more dangerous to dictators. While Pharaoh builds monuments to his own ego, a desperate mother weaves a tiny ark out of papyrus reeds. It is a fragile thing, and yet inside the basket dwells the future of Israel. Now, look closely at the riverbank. God's supreme authority is not arriving in a lightning bolt. It's being exercised through the quiet, beautiful defiance of ordinary women. It is the midwives who look Pharaoh in the eye and gently lie to preserve life. It is an older sister watching from the reeds. Before God ever splits the Red Sea, he splits an empire with a wicker basket woven from a mother's love. He proves that the darkest decrees of human power are entirely hollow when matched against the fierce and quiet faithfulness of ordinary people who know who has the last word. How many times have we said in this square how God's kingdom, how God's power, how God's timing, how God's bigger picture differs so greatly from what we human beings imagine it should be. One of the main reasons that Jesus the Christ came to this earth was to show us that difference. He came to show us what power lay in peace, what might lay in the words that you didn't speak in order to not hurt another person, what victory lay in your ability to not carry on a grudge or to release a hurt or to begin to forgive. And how so many people think that religion, particularly as some of us present it, can be all nicey and flowery. Believe me, the right form of love takes mighty courage at the best of times. God's immense power comes in a completely different packet. It comes in a different shape. You have seen it at work in your lives so many times, in the hearts of truly good people, and in the actions that you yourself have done, the words that you have spoken when they really needed to bring that form of peace, and the diligence with which you worked to bring about an outcome when force and brutality would have scuppered the whole plan.